Between the Pages is made possible by Words and Pictures, located at 2610 Center Street Northeast in Calgary. For all your comic book, anime, toys, and more, stop by Words and Pictures. You'll be glad you did. This episode of Between the Pages is brought to you by Red Skull Comics offers the best selection of comics and trade paperbacks in Calgary, with a great selection of manga, games, magic cards, toys, statues, and a whole lot more. Want to be sure your collection is up to date? Then ask the friendly staff about their file services. Need more room for that growing collection? Then ask Red Skull about selling your back issue titles. 18 years and still going strong, Red Skull is the best little comic shop in Western Canada. Visit Red Skull Comics today at 720A Edmonton Trail Northeast in Calgary. Then find them on the web at www.redskull.com and like them on Facebook.
Good afternoon. It is 12 noon here in the foothills of the Rocky Mountains, 2 p.m. in the Eastern Time Zone. It's 11 a.m. on the Pacific Coast, and I am your host, Richard Cleveland. As always, I am here with my inimitable co-host, Mr. Jason Bishop, on this episode of Between the Pages, and this is episode number 21. Wow, 21 episodes.
We're getting up there.
We are. Yeah. Say hi to the people.
Hi, people.
You're only people today to him. You're not the wonderful people.
I need you guys. Oh, God. Just please stop. That's going to get annoying really fast.
Okay. I'm having fun.
And they are wonderful people.
They are.
If you're just joining us, please join us over at naked8prod.com. Hit us in the chat room. You can change your nick over there.
You bet.
And we got a little bit of news to talk about today.
Well, actually, we don't have a show today.
Oh.
We don't.
Okay.
So today we're just going to BS. As the show note said, today is a BS day.
I wrote that.
I know you wrote that.
I was waiting for the crickets.
Well, we can find those. They're in here somewhere.
Well, now it's too late. The joke's over.
I know.
It's too late.
All right.
Time is gone. We do have a little bit of news. Not a lot to tell you. There are some Marvel Now announcements.
There are.
I think we'll give you guys a few of those.
We got a little show and tell today.
Got a little show and tell today. We got a bit of a discussion thing. We got our regular reviews as well. Sit back, relax.
Okay, let's start with the news then. Let's get into some news, and first and foremost, I think we're going to talk about Avengers Assemble. Now, I read this news story this morning, and I'm kind of going, okay, they really don't tell you a whole hell of a lot in the story.
The problem with these announcements is why I haven't really wanted to mention too much on the air, is they're telling us the creative teams and nothing else.
That's it.
Yeah,
like there's no story plots, there's no nothing.
Now you can actually run the crickets.
Okay.
This is the Marvel news?
Yeah, this is the Marvel. I can't find the crickets now.
Oh, God.
I hate this thing.
Okay.
That wasn't it.
Wow.
That was loading a gun for later.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's too late now. So for what I have for the Marvel news anyway, we got...
Better late than never. Sorry.
Okay.
He's Mr. Jason Bishop.
I am Mr. Jason Bishop. iPad. Avengers Assemble, as you're talking about, Kelly DeConnick and Stefano Caselli. A minor change in that lineup from what Bendis was doing.
Bendis jumped off it, right?
It's essentially Captain America, Iron Man, Hulk, and Spider-Woman.
Now, all they really did...
we've seen in the promotional pictures so far.
Right. All they really did was tease us who's going to be in it. They haven't told us anything about it.
No.
They've told us who's going to write it, who's going to draw it, and that's it. Yeah. Why make an announcement so vague?
Well, and that's... all the announcements have been like that. It's like, okay, well, if you're familiar with some of these creative teams, you might get excited, you might not, but... I would love to know something about these books. As a retailer, they do this to me often. When Spider-Man was solicited... literally, I didn't know anything about that book until the 11th hour.
Wow.
It wasn't in the solicitations, nothing. I'm like, how am I supposed to order this thing? So
Yeah, it's-
I was like guessing. All I knew who was working on it. I didn't know anything about it.
It says November that it's coming out. Now, admittedly, the team that is going on to this book, I have no problem with. I think they're a great team.
Stefano Casali is a great artist.
Yeah.
I've liked Kelly Sue DeConnick's stuff in the past. Some of it I've liked, some of it I haven't.
She's a hit and miss from time to time.
I mean, when she's on, it's really working. So,
Right.
her Castle stuff's pretty good.
Right.
So we'll have to wait and see. I mean, that's a big book for her. So
Now,
looking forward to seeing what she can do on that one.
Let's go to that one other piece of news that we were talking about this morning. We've got Remender, Ramita Jr.
Oh, taking over Captain America.
Taking over Captain America.
That's a good combination.
I think that's a great combination.
Rick Remender's not afraid to do different things with books.
No.
He certainly has done the most interesting take on Venom I've seen in a while.
Right.
I really dislike that character, but I quite like the new book. So that all seems to work for me.
I like
really
the character as it was created originally. Where it's evolved to over time, he's a pussy now.
Well, they've had missteps. I mean,
missteps? No, that's like falling on your face.
I mean, it's we don't have the original guy in the suit anymore, and then they I can't remember his name right now. Eddie Brock. Eddie Brock is now actually wearing Toxin's outfit. Bizarre. Another symbiote I could care less about.
Yeah.
And then after that, it wound up in the hands of the Scorpion, which really ticked me off because I like the Scorpion. It's the Scorpion.
Right.
So he was running around as Venom for a while, and finally they got rid of it, and it landed with Flash Thompson, who I think is an inspired choice. You know, he's been supporting cast in Spider-Man for a long time. He's the angry young man. He's come back from the war. He's, handicapped. There's a lot of really great aspects to
but he's always been a Spider-Man supporter. So how does that work into the symbiote's hate of Peter Parker and Spider-Man?
So there's a conflict. Flash is a huge fan.
Yes. Morally, he's a huge fan. Emotionally,
not so much. They've done this more as a military style book. The military's gotten hold of the symbiote. They only allow Flash to wear it for roughly 24 hours.
So it doesn't become ingrained into his.
And they've hinted that it's a
DNA.
ticking clock. Like if it bonds with him, they've got the little button to press, and they're both toast. Or
Nice.
Flash is toast.
Nice.
And they'll find a new host.
Let's just fry the kid. It's okay.
That's all right. Well, we're gonna need another Venom.
This leads me to this. Little confusion.
Oh, I really hate that thing. Mad Fraction is going to be running the show over in the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting.
Four books will still be going. We got Fantastic Four with him and Mark Bagley, and FF with Matt Fraction and Mike Allred. I got to tell you that Mike Allred book looks really wonky and weird.
Does it really?
I mean, this is the guy who does Madman, right? Like, wonky and weird is what he does. So, I mean, Madman was fantastically bizarre. So
it is so hot in here. I am sweating today.
I know. The PC Basements is a little toasty today.
Normally, it's like nice and cool in here.
Deadpool's getting a relaunch.
Yes, I saw that.
With a bunch of creators. I can't remember who they are. They were actually new to the... I'm just going to click over to... Oh, actually, my link's not working, so never mind.
Jason Aaron and Asad Ribic are taking on Thor: God of Thunder.
Which is interesting. I'm not the biggest Thor guy. I pop in and out just to see what's going on, but I do like Jason Aaron's writing, and that one's a weird match. So I almost think that because he likes his dark stories, so I'm
not familiar with Assad's art style though.
You may probably haven't read it. There was a Loki miniseries
a
few years ago. He's a beautiful painter. Like it's really nice detailed stuff. So that begs the question of whether he can maintain a monthly schedule, because he is a painter,
right?
So. I don't know. I will have to see what it looks like. I mean, if nothing else, that first arc's going to look gorgeous.
He could be digitally doing it.
Well, which makes it a little faster process, but I suspect they'll probably have revolving creative teams. So first arc's probably going to be Ribic, and then somebody else to give them some time to do the third arc or whatever.
Creative team on Iron Man's getting facelift too.
Yeah, creative team in Iron Man. Kieran Gillian and Greg Land are doing Iron Man. Kieran Gillian's been doing some really wonderful Thor stuff on Journey into Mystery. So
Right.
it's almost tragic that he's leaving that book because it's such a perfect fit for him.
Let's see what he can do
his Thor
with
books are great.
Stark and the world of Stark.
Yeah, Greg Land, love him or hate him, he's a high detail artist who does a lot of photo references. Hopefully he's gotten rid of his porn collection.
Artists don't do that.
Have you seen Uncanny X-Men?
What I'm saying is artists don't get rid of their porn collection.
Oh,
that's
I'm
their
sorry.
inspiration.
I'm sorry.
How do you draw female parts?
So, some of you guys are going to love it. Some of you guys are going to hate it. But I think it's going to be a good read.
I think so too.
So, and this is the one I'm actually excited about, but I'm a Hulk guy anyway. Indestructible Hulk, not incredible,
Indestructible
not
Hulk.
sensational, but indestructible. And that's going to be brought to us by Mark Waid and Lionel Francis Yu. So really strong creative team there. And Wade's really got the breakout book with Daredevil right now. And I think he's staying on that for the foreseeable future. So and Wade I think is going to be the perfect voice for the new direction they're going to go with Incredible Hulk next. So.
Okay. Let's quickly touch on, before we get to the other subject that we were talking about earlier in the show. Tony Moore is in court again against Robert Kirkman.
Well, that's not news so much. It's getting a little uglier.
It's getting much more uglier.
Yeah, there's a little bit of mudslinging going on now.
You think?
And I got to side with with Tony Moore on this one. I mean,
So do I.
Just the details that seem to be coming out of this case really seems like Kirkman's trying to screw him out of his share of Walking Dead. And I mean that's become a huge juggernaut. There's enough to go around now.
Sure there is.
Give him his due.
Well, it says here, Moore, who launched The Walking Dead with Kirkman in 2003 and illustrated the first 6 issues, filed his lawsuit in February in Los Angeles Superior Court, claiming the writer fraudulently induced him to sign over his copyright interests in the comic. Well, that's a lot of slick talking, if you ask me. Now,
Yeah.
he can prove that he was part of the original
First 6 issues.
first 6 issues. He can also prove, because he's got documentation apparently, that he was co-creator on the copyright.
And every Kirkman book has given the artist co-creation in those books, with the exception accidentally leaving Tony Moore off the credits of Walking Dead #1.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I don't want to take sides, but I hope Tony Moore gets his due on this one.
Well, we'll see.
It's ugly, but actually, it was interesting how this came along, because I think Tony was willing to let it lie, and
Right.
The William Friedrich case with Ghost Rider and
Right.
Marvel really prompted some strong reactions in people on the Twitter boards. And he started getting into an argument, and him and Kirkman had different views, and then it became personal
Right.
about Walking Dead, and that's where this all started. It started with an argument on Twitter.
Strange.
Yeah.
Well, it looks to me, if you haven't read the article, go over to CBR, which is who we got our news from this week.
Yeah.
And that's Comic Book Resources. Go check out all the
Speaking
top
of
stories
Walking
there.
Dead, Walking Dead 100 recently topped somewhere around 375 issues.
Yeah, I heard that.
First issue of Walking Dead sold 7,000. So that's a huge leap.
Yeah.
And that was the #1 book for July.
Now, do you consider the popularity of The Walking Dead due to everything that's happened in that franchise, television series, the book, the huge amount of
Absolutely.
push that Kirkman does at Comic-Con every year?
I mean, it's been a steadily growing audience before the show.
Right.
The show just pushed it into a different level entirely. It is now in the public consciousness. I mean, the zombies are still a huge trend. So,
Which surprises me.
yeah, honestly, it does. But I think it's the quality that maintains the interest, the quality in the property.
It could be.
Yeah.
It could be. I think that we're going to see it drop off very soon, though.
Yeah, well,
It's going to take that nosedive much like vampires did, because somebody's going to do sparkly zombies.
And quite possibly, I'll have pearl skin or something. And,
we don't decay anymore. We just get this nice sheen.
Yeah. And who knows? I mean, something will crash, but usually the ones that lead the charge are the ones that last through the crashes in the market. So I think he'll be all right. The book will be all right.
I think the book will be all right, but I don't see the series running for any more than maybe one more, maybe two more seasons.
I can see it going to 5.
You think so?
Yeah.
I don't know. I have my doubts about that.
AMC's hugest hit right now. I mean, even Mad Men and Breaking Bad have really pretty strong ratings for that show. Walking Dead crushes them. Like they're double what those shows do. So it's not going anywhere.
But you got to consider The Walking Dead as a television series is less about the zombies and more about the character interaction.
Yeah. And if it continues to do numbers, and we're talking what networks get, ABC and NBC, guys like AMC and WB, they don't get those kind of numbers.
No, that's right.
So when you have a show that does, you're going to hang on to it with a death grip.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's move on to our big story. A big story. I don't have a soundboard for that one. Sorry. So the big story this week is, should Warner give up on a Justice League movie? What's your thought on that?
No.
No?
Next. No, they need to take their time is what they need to do. I think for a proper Justice League movie, we're 10 years away.
I agree with you on that.
They really need to focus on their franchises and getting them working. We're talking Batman, Superman, Flash. And yes, there's a very successful Batman franchise. But
has nothing to do with the JLA universe.
Nolan's Batman does not exist in a world with the Justice League.
No.
So you got to get that one going again. And really you need probably about 4 or 5 years between the franchises. So...
Oh, I agree.
Now you got to wait. Superman's just getting its reboot for next year. We'll see what it does. They already had a misstep with Green Lantern. And there's still a lot of potential with Flash and Wonder Woman, but they really got to get it right and take their time with it. Wonder Woman, I think, really needs to be done in the way Thor was done. A fantasy piece that you bring into the modern world.
Right.
Flash should just be kinetic kind of chase movie, almost Fast and the Furious with feet.
Yeah, I can see that. However, I think that needs to be a dramatic piece more so than a superhero piece.
You need to make it a personal piece.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, this week we heard that Ben Affleck was going to be tied to the project. Now that's been debunked. He's no longer going to be tied to the project.
Which, he would have been a decent director. I mean,
I think he would have been a great director.
Yeah, all of his stuff he's been
Gone Baby Gone,
Town. He's been doing some amazing stuff.
He's got a new movie come out based on a true story.
Argo.
Yeah, Argo, which is coming out.
Yeah, and it's looking like could be Warner's best chances for an Oscar this year.
As a director, he does really well.
Yeah.
Actor-wise, it depends on the role.
He does have a mixed reaction to the fan base.
Yeah. If you put him in a dramatic setting, he's great.
Yeah.
Put him in Daredevil, not so good.
Yeah.
Although as a character...
The worst thing for his career was Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah. The Matt Murdock character that he played, I thought, was done well.
Yeah.
Not brilliant, but well.
Yeah.
But it suffered on the story end.
That was when the superhero movies were really following a certain formula.
Right.
And they were almost interchangeable. The Daredevil and the Crow and even the first or the second Punisher movie they were so interchangeable.
Yeah.
They all did the same shtick. Everybody somehow lit something on fire and their symbol was...
So that brings me to the question, do you think Warner's is afraid to jump on the JLA bandwagon right now with the success of Avengers? Do you think people are going to compare them to that?
Well, it's inevitably yes.
Yeah, okay.
That's going to happen. And I think Warner's a bit intimidated by it. But I also think Warner doesn't really understand their superhero properties.
I kind of agree with you on
and
that.
it showed over the years. They really not sure what to do with them, and I think they're staring at Marvel wanting to do that, but DC isn't Marvel.
That's right.
And they need to embrace the fact that they're a different type of book and a different type of universe, where Marvel seems to be try to be grounded within a world we can at least sympathize with, and characters that have issues and whatever. DC's had a pantheon of gods, really, and you need to do something big and bombastic with that.
Yeah, I think you're
you
hitting the nail on the head.
And you got to keep that in mind with the characters. I mean, you don't want to suddenly do your first Batman movie and have them fighting Starro the Conqueror. I mean, that's ridiculous.
That's right.
I mean, you do want to keep them within their worlds when you're doing the individual franchises.
Well, a suggestion made in the article was to do a low-key JL movie, which means you have all these heroes in the movie, but you never really bring them all together to form a group, and you send them off to do this wonderful invasion piece. The invasion's been done. What do you do?
Well, yeah, and I think they're thinking of the origin story for the Justice League and how they got together, and they could do it backwards. They could do Justice League, get these characters together in these films, and use it as a way to start franchises elsewhere. I think Avengers is a good example of how it's reinvigorated people's interest in the Hulk. I think they could probably do another Hulk movie now.
Oh, I think they could easily.
Without any stigma behind it anymore. I think Avengers is what they will remember of that character, and they can push forward from that.
But I think audiences for the DC universe are tainted now. We had a bad Superman movie come out with Superman Returns.
But that was
we had
part
a
of the
critically
franchise
bad
that's old.
Green Lantern movie.
Yeah.
Fans didn't respond well to it either. Some fans did. Most fans didn't, though.
I think they did, and that was a case of too much money in the wrong places and too much time in the wrong places. They had 3 different major plot lines, and any one of them could have been a feature unto itself.
We had a failed Wonder Woman TV pilot.
Yeah, but nobody saw that outside of the interwebs illegal downloads.
But still,
yeah, I mean that people will forget that because most people didn't even see it. So
you and I saw it.
Well, and yeah.
It was failed.
We're tainted.
It was failed. So I think what they need to do is start introducing these characters much like Marvel did it. Do the movie right.
Yeah.
Do the ending of the movie so it might tie into something much bigger later.
Yeah. They'll probably have to follow that Marvel formula, but that's a trap when you start falling into formulas. Okay, here's the teaser for something else. And I mean, one of my big complaints with the Marvel movies is a lot of times they're anticlimactic. Here's the big penultimate battle with the Red Skull, and he gets sucked into some hole. And you leave that going, oh, well, that's going to continue on elsewhere, but you don't have this sense of resolution with the film because you're expecting more somewhere. So I don't know. I'm not sure what DC needs to do, but I think they need to find their own identity. Don't try to just regurgitate what Marvel's doing because they're going to call you on it.
Oh, sure.
The fans will call you on it. The critics will call you on it.
I'm not saying to regurgitate it. I'm saying to take that model and make it your own. I mean, it's like a singer who sings an original song, and then somebody else takes that song and completely redoes it.
Yeah, I think they should create their own new model. Actually, now that we've been discussing it, I actually think doing a Justice League movie first might be a better way to do it.
Oh, I don't think so.
Make sure you get your actors in a row, make sure they're the right ones, and then spread them out from there. Go backwards.
I think you need to build the franchise first before jumping all these characters in.
I think so too. But
because you're going to take a lot of those characters and put them into that movie.
I think if you have a successful Justice League movie at the beginning, you certainly can do that. But the problem is you got nothing to build that from, so you're never going to get the kind of success that Avengers has had because you have nothing to base those characters from yet, and build that fan base. So the smart way would be build your individual franchises. Not to say a Justice League movie wouldn't be a huge hit without having those individual franchises there. But the smart way to do it would be, get your Superman's out next year, so that's a good.
They tried to do a JLA
there.
television series back in the 80s.
Oh, there was a pilot, yeah.
There was a pilot, which did air.
And it was completely awful.
It was completely I mean, got to consider, the writing wasn't up to par. The characters were somewhat there.
The technology
wasn't there to do that type of show.
You couldn't do Green Lantern in the 80s.
No. I agree.
You just couldn't. You had to wait for the technology to be there, and it's there now. But that was a case of, I have all this money to spend on special effects. Oh, I forgot about the plot.
I think DC does things better in animation.
Which, seeing how reverential some of these people are in animation to those properties, they maybe should turn to some of those people.
I think you're right.
To develop that. Or, find people who are fans of the property. I mean, that's what Marvel's been doing.
Yeah.
I mean, whether you know it or not, people love these properties that have been working on these movies. Joss Whedon is a huge comic book reader.
Absolutely,
he loves the Avengers. He loves X-Men. I mean, he's written some of that stuff.
But you could also take it in another way. J.J. Abrams, who was not a Star Trek fan, not familiar with the Star Trek universe at all, made a hell of a movie. And rebooted that franchise and gave it new life.
He did, and that was, I don't know. Let's see what he does on the second one, whether he can recreate that magic, because he managed to get the right people in the right place and find a really good cast for that movie.
But that brings me to my point. I mean, maybe really bring in some fresh eyes.
Fresh eyes is a good thing. Get some of these young directors, and we see them doing it all the time. Marvel's eyeing these guys all the time. The guy who directed Chronicles attached to like a bazillion comic book things right now, including a Daredevil reboot, Fantastic Four reboot, which I doubt we'll ever see. But
so we've got some people to thank. If you are before we do that, if you are wanting a JLA movie, hey, let us know. Not that we have any input or pull on that, but let us know.
We'll do what we can.
We'll make a discussion on it. You can, of course, find us on the web. Everybody else can find us on the web, so you can too. And I fixed some things this week. So you can go to nakedapeprod.com, between the pages, right down there. You can see it. And check us out. There we go. You can check us out there on our website. If you're looking to send us some email, you can do it at info@nakedapeprod.com or betweenthepages@nakedapeprod.com. Either one, I read them every day. Or you can find us on Facebook, and that is Naked Ape Productions. And see, I spelt it right this week. So yeah, it's spelled right this week.
Finally.
I fixed it up. And then, of course, we are on the Twitterverse. So we don't tweet that often, but when we do, we try and get a couple of tweets in a week. I'm not a big tweeter. I think tweeters belong in speakers, but that's a bad joke. That being said, there's nakedapeprod.com on Twitter. And what else we got going on? We want to thank some people this week, to people that help us do this show each and every week. And first and foremost, we want to thank Gorilla Print, or who do we got up first? Yes, we have Gorilla Printing up first. We want to thank Gorilla Printing. They supply us with all the things that we need to send out to the folks, to let them know who we are and what we do. And they have everything from business cards to trade show banners and everything in between. So if you're looking to get some printing done, they do a really excellent job. You can check them out at gorillaprinting.ca. So go over and check them out. We also have to thank Red Skull Comics, located at 720A Edmonton Trail Northeast here in Calgary. They have everything that you need for your comic needs, from bags and boards to brand new comics to your back issues. They've got toys. They're a little tiny place in the world of comics, but they've got a whole lot. So go down, check them out, and you can find them at redskull.com. That's REDDSKULL. And lastly, we have to thank our major sponsor of the show, who help us out each and every week. And I'll let you talk about those guys.
And that's Words Pictures, located right here in Calgary, 2610 Center Street Northeast, Phone number is 403-282-8870. File services, toys, games, you name it, they got it. If they don't have it, we'll certainly bend over backwards to try to get it for you.
I want to see you guys bend over backwards.
That just went all sorts of wrong.
Yeah, it did. So we got some other things to talk about this week. Do we want to do this first, or do we want to do our review first?
Let's do our review first.
Okay. So this week
Save the best for last.
we'll save the best for last. So this week we're talking about 3 books as we do each and every week, and we have one from Marvel, one from DC, and this week our wild card pick comes from Dark Horse Comics. I can't read today because the cover's black. It comes from Dark Horse Comics, and this book is, of course, The Creep, brought to us by John Arcudi and Jonathan Case. What did you think of this book?
I liked it. It was this nice noirish 40s kind of throwback book. We've seen this kind of mongoloidist character in other type of period pieces before. Dick Tracy comes to mind. Rocketeer comes to mind.
Yep.
And we always see him as this heavy villain type of character. In this one, he's not. He's this kind of hated character in this world because 40s, a lot of racism going on, and not liking things they don't understand. And he's running out trying to do good things for the people around. And this is just a nice kind of start to a detective story.
He kind of feels like to me that he's a character out of time, because although you mentioned the 40s, and we know that Dick Tracy and The Shadow and all those kinds of shows and books all came out around that time. And the thing about this is it kind of feels like it's a little more modern in terms of the settings, although he looks like an old school detective.
Yeah.
You know, the kind of guy that drinks too much, smokes too much,
Yeah.
and, you know, spends too much time in his office and not enough time in the field. He has that wonderful fedora hat and a long trench coat, so he has that styling.
Yeah.
The Creep is you find out a little bit about his origin, and he used to be this really handsome guy in college, and then through a genetic anomaly in his family line, he develops this disease which distorts his face a little bit and makes him look almost Frankensteinish.
Yeah, he's really tall and thick, and yeah.
You know, so he looks like a guy who's been beat up way too much.
Yeah, they do name the disorder in there.
They do.
I meant to go look it up. It probably is a real disorder.
I think the disorder's in there somewhere.
Yeah, I think it's the same disorder that guys like Andre the Giant had.
Yeah, I think it's very similar. Yeah, because he's talking to a young woman whose son had committed suicide and mentions what the disorder is. However, the book itself, artwork wise, what'd you think?
I liked it. It was clean. It's not a razzle dazzle kind of style, but it fits the tone of the story.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so. And we've seen lately not too many books, the artwork fits the story. And we've seen that a lot in books that we've reviewed in recent weeks. But this really felt like one of those great period piece stories.
And it really feels like it could be the start of a nice franchise.
I think it's going to take fans a while to warm up to this.
Yeah.
Especially if you're not an old school sort of detective story fan. But if you are, you'll warm up to this story very quickly.
I mean, if you guys have been reading John Arcudi's BPRD stuff, I don't have to tell you what a good writer he is.
Right.
That said, I think this is something that's going to be a good story. Have some great potential. I really don't know how long this is. This is a 0 issue. I haven't seen solicitation for number 1, so I think they're just giving people a taste right now to try it out. And we might see more of this in different places, maybe Dark Horse Presents or a new mini-series coming up very shortly.
I'd really like to see what they do with this story, because it's a good launching point for this character, I think. And I think the stories could take you pretty much anywhere. And this leads right to the end of the book. It leads that it's open, wide open.
Yeah, the character,
and he hasn't solved the case in this book.
Yeah, the character is interesting enough that I think you could do more than just a detective noir story with him. Like you could do all sorts of different stories. Okay, thank you. lovely assistant over here. He has a disorder called acromegaly. It is a long-term condition in which there is too much growth hormone and the body tissue get larger over time. Symptoms are body odor, carpal tunnel syndrome, decreased muscle strength, easy fatigue, and probably a few others, as well as giganticism, apparently.
Giganticism, yeah. But I think the book itself is worth the read for anybody looking for something new that's out of that superhero genre. The capes and tights. I think this is a good read for somebody to get into.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the story. I thought it was fun.
It's something different out there. You can take a break from your Superman books, and yeah, I think it's definitely worth picking up.
I agree. Now, one thing I wanted to mention about our next book was you and I talked about this briefly this week, and you weren't a big fan of this book at the start. You weren't going to pick this book for our review. Although you like the character, you weren't sure about the book.
There's been so many false starts with his solo career, and we're talking about Gambit.
Yeah, Gambit.
Gambit #1 from Marvel Comic Books. He's had a few kicks to the cat as a monthly book, and doesn't get very far.
So James Asmus writes this book, and it's penciled by Clayman. I like the artwork in the book.
I did too.
I thought it was a decent launch point for him. If you're going to relaunch the character, I think this was the way to do it. The painted style in this book almost seems watercolored in some ways.
I think that's just a technique they're using in the computer colors. I did enjoy it. It felt that it fit the tone of the story. We have a Gambit here who's trying to find kind of an identity outside of his X-Men stuff. And he's not really wanting to go back home to New Orleans and all that stuff, but he's kind of missing the game, the thieving game. So we see him start something in this, and I think we're going to see more heists and things like that, although it ends in a very strange place.
It does.
And so that left me a little head scratching, but that's all lead in for issue 2, I assume.
Now, what I didn't get from this book was, is this before X-Men, or is this during X-Men, or is this after X-Men?
I think this is all happening, while he's an X-Men. I'm not sure if it takes place before or after Avengers versus X-Men, but he does talk about the school and being a teacher, I think that's in reference to Wolverine and the X-Men. So
it could be,
yeah,
could very well be
Gray's school.
But I think the story flows well. The action is good in this book. It takes breaks from the action at the right time, I felt, for the dialogue and for the flow of the story. What did you think about that?
I thought it was a really well-paced book. I really didn't know. Haven't read too much from James in there thus far, and I really didn't have high hopes for the character. Honestly, I thought it was a poor time to be launching him into a new monthly. They should have probably waited till after Avengers versus X-Men had settled.
But they're doing this with a lot of books now. Like we saw Hawkeye last week.
Yeah, and Captain Marvel just a few weeks earlier, and I think their timing's off. That should have been part of their Marvel Now launches, which is 22 books over a 5-month period. I think it should have been part of that. We would have had more synergy on those books. But that said, both titles were quick sellouts for Words and Pictures. So
now our last book is a number 12 from the New 52, and again, this is a story I got dropped into at the end. But the book that we're talking about is Batman and Robin, and this is Terminus Wants You, and this is brought to us by Peter Tomasi and Patrick Gleason, along with Mick Gray. Honestly, I didn't really read the book. I didn't get time to read the book.
I love Gleason's artwork. I have read the book.
I will say that I do like the artwork in this book. And it was pretty easy to follow the story through, flipping through. I like the fact that we jump from one story that ties into the first story to a story with the Robins.
Yeah, this is more of a superhero type of Batman story that we don't get a lot of within the Batman title or detective. We have him fighting this big, powerful villain, Terminus,
Right.
who seems to melt and then reconstruct and melt, and he's all strange. And this also ties off the War of the Robins subplots that have been running.
Right.
Damien's out to prove something, that he's the best Robin. And I think they wrap that story up quite nicely in this issue as well, in a quieter way than Damien's probably used to.
Art style. What'd you think?
I love Gleason's artwork. I've always liked him. I've liked him since his Dark Horse days on the Mask. He just does these big type of characters really well. There's just something about his style that really speaks to me.
So I can't comment too much other than what I see in the book. Art style, great.
Yeah, I think they're him and Tomasi are a really good match.
Even if you didn't read the book, you get a sense of what the book is all about just by flipping through it. So I thought that was really done well. If there was no dialogue, you can still follow what the story was.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about the monster that the Robins are fighting, the three-headed monster. But
I was a little baffled. I mean, all these characters are backing up Terminus. These are people who have suffered in the wake of a battle that Batman's done. So this three-headed monster is literally three people who have been fused together. There's another guy who's literally got a batarang coming out of his head.
Nice.
So they're meant to be victims of
Batman
some
way or
Batman
another.
battle villains that have suffered, probably just hoods.
Probably just hoods, yeah.
Yeah, and of course now they've become the typical Batman weirdo villain, you know.
I will say I wouldn't mind seeing some of the other stories that lead up to the conclusion. But this kicks off
It was an
into our
interesting
zeros,
story.
which are coming very soon.
The number 12s are pretty much wrapping up storylines to get to the zeros. Zeros going to be nice origin stories.
Right.
So we'll be covering a lot of those over next month, over September, as
Right.
they launch, including the new titles. Yeah.
We're actually going to have a discussion with some guys from another comic book show called Behind the Counter, brought to us by the GFQ Network. We're going to have John and Rich, the hosts of that show, talking with us via Skype, talking about the 52 zeros when they launch. So we'll have them on that
Great.
show.
We'll have a nice round robin conversation there.
Yeah, that'll be a conversation you definitely want to tune into. What else we got on top? We got some cool stuff that you brought in today.
Show and tell today.
Yeah, you brought some cool stuff in.
Well, we're going to talk a little bit about Lock and Key, but not the wonderful comic book by Joe Hill.
There we
Although
go.
this is the latest Volume 5 graphic novel, Clockworks. Go grab that now in hardcover. And if you haven't been reading this story, it's this wonderful type of story. Joe Hill's Stephen King's son, and they do have a similar approach to their storytelling techniques. And this is about a small family called the Locks. They move into this place called Key House, and there's a lot of interesting keys that do different things. And it's brought to you by IDW.
Here, let me just switch to that camera. There we go.
Oh, is that an IDW key? Where could he be going with this?
There you go.
And a lot of these keys have interesting functions, such as
Let's go to that key.
the ghost key. And this is the ghost key. What this does, it opens a door called the ghost door. Look at the detail on this. These are sculpted by Israel Skelton, and you can go to skeltoncrew.com to order these. These are not available on IDW's website or through your local comic book shops. I stumbled across them because I really wanted some of these.
So you have to special order these from the website, right?
Yeah. Skeleton Crew recently got the license for Chew as well, and I'm very curious to see what kind of merchandise they're going to do for Chew. Like, are they going to release a set of teeth? I'm not sure what they're going to do for Chew. And the shadow key, or the ghost key, I should say. The ghost key, what that does, opens the ghost door, and a character walks through the ghost door, and his body dies, and he becomes a ghost, and he can travel through the ethereal plane as the ghost until he returns through the ghost door into his own body. And there's lots of cool stuff like that. This is the Hercules key.
There you go.
And I think we all can assume what that does. Makes you big and strong. This one's one of my favorites.
I was trying to find the website that you can actually buy all these keys from.
It's Skeleton
Crew.
And
this is called the head key. This goes into the back of your head and pops your head open. And you can literally pluck out memories that are walking around in there. And look at the detail that this key has. And it's like straight out of the comic book. Like that is the key that Gabriel Rodriguez designed on the page. It's just amazing. Now this is, I'm just going to go through a few more here. This is the Shadow Key. It's one of the smaller keys. And now you can order these off the website. They're generally around $25 plus shipping and handling. I recommend, because of the high shipping and handling costs, that you order several keys at once to cut down on that cost. You can fit 6 of these keys into one box.
Wow.
So that's probably one of the better things to do. This is the Moon Key. And if you get in on some of the limited edition ones, you can see this one's signed by the writer, Joe Hill.
Yeah, I noticed when I was looking at these earlier, they have numbers.
Some of these are limited editions. This one is a limited edition to 1,000 pieces. It's one of my more recent acquisitions. And they do have other ones that are what they call legacy editions,
right?
Like the Omega Key, which we still don't know what it does. You can see that's just a really awesome key. And what a legacy edition is it's an unlimited run. So some keys will be limited editions, some keys will automatically be legacy editions, and some keys will come out as both. I missed 2 keys before I discovered that these were even out there.
Now, did you show the other keys?
No, not yet.
Let's show that.
Okay, this is actually called the Whispering Iron.
Go to your camera here.
And then I'll give you a close-up.
There you go.
There's the Whispering Iron. You can go to the other camera. I'll do a close-up there.
Yeah, that thing is wicked.
Yeah. And just amazing sculpts.
So, and he does some more prior. He's got some amazing other. He's done the giant key, which is a rather large key, so it's not available for general purchase. But I'm sure you can arrange for that to be made. It is a massive key.
I have the website pulled up here now.
There we go. He has sculpted the ghost door for Joe Hill's house.
Okay.
And it's gorgeous. Like
wow.
The details on the keyhole and the handle and just the door itself. It's just amazing stuff. He built a TARDIS for Hill House.
Wow.
So very cool. I highly recommend Skeleton Crew for.
So there's their website
stuff.
up on the screen now. Go check them out, Skeleton Crew Studio, and if you're interested in Lock and Key, there's also a game. We talked about the game a little while back.
Yeah, we talked about the great game a few episodes ago, so go check out the archives and talk about...
You've got the game.
I've got the game. I've actually played it since then. We kind of just opened it up. It was an unpackaging when we did it on the show.
Yeah, we did an unboxing. Did we do that on this show?
Yeah, we did it
we did on this show, eh? Okay. Couldn't remember if it was this show or the other show that's no longer exists. But yeah, I'd love to play the game. I mean, I'm not familiar with the Lock and Key world. I should probably start reading some of the books, especially because I kind of think that the whole storyline fits my personality, and I like stories like that. So it's kind of a noir and
it's a dark story,
very dark, yeah.
But it has a lot of humor in it too. So.
There you go.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for a good read, check out Lock and Key. If you're looking for a game to play with your friends, if you're into that tabletop gaming kind of thing, a little mystery night in your home, then get the Lock and Key game. And if you're a collector, get the Lock and Keys, or the keys for the locks.
That's right.
And
keys. There's the angel key.
Now I wonder, are they going to come out with a special case to put all those in?
I don't know. I'd love it. I'm going to be building my own displays for them for now, and if something comes out like that, there's a good chance I'll invest in it, but I've got something in mind to display these around the house. So,
very cool.
Yeah.
Do we have to make little locks for them?
My girlfriend says yes now.
Okay. Well, we can make molds and stuff here, so we'll make some locks.
The animal key. I'll move that to the other.
Here,
one,
let me go to that camera.
Because that one's just super cool.
There we go.
Look at that.
Now these are all metal too, aren't they?
Yep.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
I so want one.
I'm just addicted to these things, and they do the exclusives. Like this was a San Diego key, the IDW key.
Obviously the IDW key is not part of the story.
It should be,
but it was really cool. That's the old IDW logo right there. So it was one of the reasons I wanted it. And if they don't sell out at these functions, they will become available on the website, which is how I got this, because I didn't get it to San Diego for it. This year San Diego was a limited edition Mega Key. John in the Whispering Iron finish.
Oh.
So
now when the hell is that going to open?
I don't remember what the Whispering Iron does. Actually, there is a guide to the keys at the back of each volume. As the keys are discovered, they add more to the guide.
Now, does the guide grow exponentially for every volume that comes out?
Yes.
So the original keys are in there as well as all of the new additions. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to go to your camera here.
So there you go. They got the guide to the keys there. I don't think the Whispering Iron's actually in this one because it's not really a key. But a lot of the
it's
other
got to open something
in here. He's also done this one here, which I'd love to buy at some point. The chain key. It's another large key.
Almost looks like there's a map in the back of that book.
Yeah,
of the house.
Actually, that's the map of the key house.
There you go.
And I think at the front of the book is a good shot. Oh, there's actually different shots as well. So there's so much detail on these books. And, of course, the wonderful art by Gabriel Rodriguez.
There you go. So check out Lock and Key. You can get it at your local bookstores. If you're in Calgary, of course, you can get it at Words and Pictures. You guys have it.
Yeah, Words and Pictures,
there you
403-282-8870.
Yeah. Or where are you located?
Number 6, 2610 Center Street Northeast.
And tell people what's happening with Words and Pictures right now.
Oh, man. Well, like us on Facebook. We got a Facebook page over there. We're finally getting a website up, so keep watching your internet for that. It's still a little ways away in development, but a website is coming for us as well.
Okay.
And Richard's helping us out with that. So.
I am. Not like I don't have enough things to do. That being said, that pretty much wraps up our show for today, except for what's coming out on the shelf next week. I want to thank all of our sponsors that help us make this show possible, and I want to thank the viewers who check us out each and every week. I got to say, Justin TV is exploding with people that watch the show.
Thank you, all of our Justin viewers.
Yeah, it's exploding every week, and I don't understand how that's happening because none of the other CDNs are getting it. YouTube, I want to thank them for allowing us to put up our hour-long plus shows every week. And I want to thank you for coming out and being here every week. I mean, without you, we wouldn't have a show, man.
Oh, you're making me blush.
I know.
Not really.
No, I know. You know that I like to kiss butt a little bit every once in a while.
I'll keep doing the show. Okay?
All right, good. And you bring special guests, good-looking special guests every once in a while that don't want to be on camera.
Yeah, so you just
take things and hand things back and forth. She's a hand model, really.
That's right.
So tell us what's coming out on the shelf, buddy.
Okay, well, get this iPad in position where I can actually read it. Okay, for next week's shipping list, Amazing Spider-Man 691, Avengers vs. X-Men's nearing its close, number 10 of 12, out next Wednesday. A new Darwin Cook Batman Black and White statues out next week, which the one we got there was actually one out this week, was the Jock Black and White statue. So those are kind of fast and furious right now. Let's see what else. Batwoman number 12. Before the Watchmen, Rorschach number 1 will be out next week. And we will be reviewing that one on the show.
Yes.
Bloodshot number 2, Blue Beetle number 12. Let's see what else we got here. Captain Atom number 12, Captain Marvel number 2 from Marvel. New classic Popeye reprints. Coming out from IDW. Absolutely.
I want to read some of those. I love Popeye.
Cross Badlands.
I am what I am.
Cross Badlands number 11 is coming out. And if you are coming by Words and Pictures, we are getting some of the number 1s back in of the Calgary Expo cover.
Oh, you are?
Yeah. So
nice.
we're going to have a few of those for sale. Daredevil number 17, Dark Avengers 179, Deadpool 59, Fatale number 7 will also be out next week. Green Lantern number 12, along with the combo pack and variants, of course. Hellblazer 294, getting close to 300 on that book. Hulk 56. Hulk Season 1 hardcover will be out next week. All those Season 1s come with a digital code as well. Might be checking that one out. Let's see what else we got. New Mutants 47, I should say. Nightwing number 12. Revival number 2 will also be out next week. Number 1 got a pretty good response critically, and has been selling out all over the place and doing pretty good on eBay. So Revival number 2 next week.
Okay.
Supergirl number 12. That covers, I think, the major stuff. Uncanny X-Force 29. Walking Dead 101 will be also out next week.
Okay.
And the Watchmen Rorschach t-shirts will be out next week.
I think I need one of those.
Might be able to hook you up.
Yep. Fat man size, please.
Okay.
So we've got, there you go. We got a lot of great things happening, a lot of the great things coming out on the shelf next week. So check out your local bookstore and see what they have to offer you. If you're a collector, get a file.
That's absolutely.
That's the best way to do it.
Get a subscription with your local shop. If you're not in Calgary, find your local shop, and they should have subscription services for you.
There you go. Let's talk quickly about a couple of contests we got going on right now. We have our, well, it's not even really a contest. If you go to our Facebook page right now, you'll see some details on there on how to join in to get a free ticket to the Calgary Red and White Toy and Comic Expo, or Comic and Toy Expo, which is happening September 16th. We're also going to include in that package, all you have to do is say Red and White tickets. In the subject line, send it to info@naked8prod.com. You're also going to get in there a comic that we recently reviewed, so it's a brand new book, only been touched by us. You'll also get a Naked Ape 4-inch sticker to put on your laptop or your computer case, or on your car window, or, you know, on mom and dad's fridge. You know, put it up there with the other beer stickers.
Do it quickly, because we only have a limited number of
yes,
these things.
2 of them are already gone. We have 8 left, so they're going fast. So please get your email in for that. What I want to tell you is, please put down where we're mailing this to, because if you don't, I don't know who to send it to. So you got to send me some details, who you are, where you're at, where you want us to send this stuff, and we'll send it out to you. We also have another contest starting at 100 likes on Facebook, so if you haven't liked us on Facebook yet, head over there, naked8prod.com, or Naked Ape Productions on Facebook. I'll just bring that up real quick. Go over there, like us, and once we reach 100 likes on Facebook, we're going to start this contest for all of the books that came out on Free Comic Book Day. Now, you're probably saying to yourself, you're giving away free comics. Well, yes, we are, but there are some books in there that are integral to series or books that are coming out very soon. The War of Ultron, or the Age of Ultron, coming out. The Mouse Guard hardcover, which is very sought after and very rare.
Currently going for almost $50 on eBay.
Yes. We also have the New 52 Justice book. I'm not even sure if that's a Justice League book, but it's the New 52.
This is going to be important to the upcoming Phantom Stranger book.
Right.
As well as the Trinity War event that DC has talked about, which is probably going to be sometime next year.
Right.
So if you missed this on Free Comic Book Day, this is your chance to get one of these.
So definitely, once we reach 100, we're going to start that contest, and that contest will end when we reach 250 likes.
So there you go. It's going to be running for a little while.
Yeah.
And
Buffy is also in there. Yes.
Yeah, we got Buffy meets the aliens.
Some Adventure Time stuff.
That's right. It's just huge in the shops right now.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was in there the other day, and a couple of young gals came in looking for Adventure Time.
Can't keep it on the racks, and it's bringing a lot of female readers into the shop. So
the other thing about these books is there's a lot of family-friendly books in there.
Yes, that's what's really good about Free Comic Book Day. They try to get these all ages type material out into people's hands. Not everything I'd recommend for kids, but majority of it I would.
There's a good chunk in there for kids as well. And as we always do, we give away free comics that we review from time to time.
That's right.
We'll find a way to give those to you. We are currently collecting for our viewers the entire run of Before Watchmen. This is first printings.
That's right.
First issues, and the complete collection of Before Watchmen in single issue format. We're building that up for you for a contest later on down the road when they're all out. We will be giving all of those away, and we are working on some other stuff that maybe we're giving away at the end of September. I'm not sure yet. Still waiting for some confirmation on that. I don't want to leak too much of that. We've got some hardcovers that are sitting back there that we want to give away, and so we've got all kinds of prizes to give away to you. If you're a comic book fan, this is the place to be because we give all kinds of stuff away. Support us, please. Do support us on our website. You can do that in many ways. You can buy a T-shirt from our Cafe Press store. You can buy stuff for your iPhone. There's all kinds of stuff, coffee mugs, whatever you need. You can also leave us a donation, and that donation is completely up to you. We're not asking for recurring donations. We're not asking for any of that stuff. We're just asking for you to maybe put a little bit of coffee money in there. Help us to keep the show going each and every week. As well as you can just click on one of the ads. If you click on the Google ads, we get money for those. We get a little kickback off the Google ads that you click on. Any of the other ads, they take you to the our different advertisers such as Red Skull, Gorilla Printing, Words and Pictures. You know, if you haven't gone to visit those sites, we encourage you to do so as well. And they help us to get the show out to you as well. There's cost associated with putting this show together, and I want to end the show off on a good note. So we had a great day for nothing to really talk about. We had a lot to talk about today, and I want to thank you for joining us each and every Saturday as you do, 12 noon Mountain Standard Time, 2 p.m. Eastern, and 11 a.m. on the Pacific Coast. If you are overseas, it's 7 hours difference, so it's about 7 o'clock in the UK if you're joining us. And that is it. That is all. What else did I miss?
Teaser.
Oh, yeah, we got a teaser to show you. Yeah, we do that every once in a while. Is this it? This might be it.
Let's all go to the lobby.
It's going to restart.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby.
So coming soon, Popcorn Lobby. We're working on that show. It's a movie discussion program. It's not going to be a movie review show. It'll be a discussion about movies that are currently in theaters, on DVD, and then we have our own special little segment every week called File 13. That will be a show that we still haven't set a date for that, when that's going to start, but we're building it now, and it's coming. Also, check out Podcast U, which is coming in a couple of weeks from now. I'll be teaching you how to do what we do each and every week, and we'll take you through the equipment and how to get started in podcasting. Podcasting being the new medium for entertainment, and it's exploding. So definitely, if you're thinking about starting your own show, it's a good way to tune in, check it out. If you are on the web and you're looking for other shows to watch, I want to encourage you to go over to the GFQ, guys from Queen's Network, and check out some of their programming. They have some great programming over there as well. And I want to thank them for all the help that they've given us over the months and weeks to help us improve the quality of this show. So thanks very much for joining us, and we will see you, as always,
Between the Pages.